We have two other attendees trying to join in, but as promised, let's kick off our webinar. Once again, thank you for joining us today to talk about some exciting opportunities that are opening up with Suntech and Bluetooth Telematics. Before we get started, we'd like to just do a quick welcome from our CEO, Rob Martin. Rob, why don't you take it away?
Absolutely. So thank you all from Suntech headquarters in beautiful Carlsbad, California. Suntech makes telematics hardware devices so we can connect things. And today is all about connecting more things to other things and for this Internet of Things. And so to talk about all these wonderful things, I'm proud to introduce our team here that's going to be sharing our latest new improvements to our Suntech hardware. So we'll have Henry Tran on the line, who's our Senior Director for our FAE support. Hello, Henry Tran, there he is. And we'll have Heath Shattuck, who's our Senior Sales Director. Been around this industry for a long time and knows all about connecting things. And so he'll be sharing with you sort of all the wonderful details on these products. And I'm especially excited to have our friends here from Ella Innovation and Novo. We've been working for some time with them to figure out how can we make Suntech devices even stronger, faster, better, more. So without further ado, I want to turn it over to these subject matter experts to share our latest information. Thank you.
Thanks, Rob. And this is Jim. I'll be your moderator today. We will be keeping everybody on mute until we have the question sections. So if you do have a question, please feel free to type it in the open comment section or raise your hand and we'll call on you. But without further ado, we'd like to get into a brief agenda overview of the three sections what we'll be talking about today. So the first section is going to be exploring the partnership that we've now developed with Ella and Novatech. Heath Shattuck, our Senior Sales Director, will be leading that section. About a 15-minute overview, and then we'll have an open Q&A section. The second section, which we know that we have a lot of people asking about right now, is the technical review of our new product and the integration and also data management of the Ella sensors, which will be led by Henry Tran, our Senior Director of Field Applications. And our last section really is going to dive deep into new use cases that you can use this combined power of Bluetooth telematics to move forward to grow your business opportunities. So without further ado, we'd like to start off our first section, which is the growing partnership with Ella and Novatech. And with that, I'd like to hand over the presentation to Heath. So Heath, welcome.
Thanks, Jim. I appreciate it. So, interesting thing about this BLE stuff is that, it's not like your Bluetooth headsets, right? We're very accustomed to buying a headset or getting in a car or some other device with Bluetooth and just connecting it to our phone seamlessly and one touch. This isn't like that. There's a lot more that goes in behind the scenes to be able to make this stuff happen. So one of the things we try to do at Suntech is we let our customers drive the innovation. We let the customers decide where our development efforts are going to go. And the industry has been tilting towards BLE for a while. I think we're still pretty bleeding edge on it. For sensors and for what traditionally we would use IOs and pull cables for, we're now able to use this multitude and growing range of BLE devices. And so we had customers saying, well, gee, if you can do BLE, what can I use? What's plug and play? What's easy to use? So what we really did is we looked around, we again asked our customers, who are you using to provide the BLE widgets, the various sensor devices, and what would you recommend? And after some of that looking around, Rob actually went out and he contacted our Ella event directly, and then went to Novatech, found out they're the US North American distributor, and literally just bought one of everything, just bought a whole passel of BLE sensors. And then we sent those off to Korea, let the guys do some work on them to see to it that the back end was all connected. And that's where we are today. So as a result of that, we're able to offer this partnership. We wanted to further grow that and be able to make it so that our customers can then come to us and say, hey, I want to solve for X, and do you have something that can do that? And that's what we're going to talk a little bit about today, is the 4955 with its next level of innovation and how it's integrated with these ELA sensors. So, we're very excited about this partnership. ELA is absolutely the leader in this space. This is their specialty. They've got over 20 years of experience. That growing, 25% year over year with over 100 products. I had the pleasure of having a conversation with the guys on the ELA team earlier this week, and the stuff that they got in the hopper and the things that they're looking to solve for is pretty exciting. It's things that we again traditionally had to pull wires for. Over 900,000 units deployed and growing year after year, and I think that this growth is really going to be exponential and explosive. So that's what we're excited to be able to announce on this call today, and to be able to talk about a little bit more and some of these use cases at the end, and how we came to be able to have this partnership. So I guess you can go on from the next one there, Jim. So we try to make it simple. Again, we want to, we let customers drive innovation, but we don't want you to have to carry water on everything as a customer to have to do all of your own development. That's also why we, why we work so hard to build scripts for our customers, to configure your devices up front. We want to make it easy to do business with. That's really a core value of Suntech, is we want to be easy to do business with. So, so again, we make it simple. We're going to, you can learn about the sensors at Novotech. They have, their website is constantly updated with all of the latest sensors, all of their details. You can order them directly from us. We want to be a one-stop shop. We've been able to work out a special pricing agreement, so you'll also get 15% off of the list price, so you're not paying regular retail on those. And we can bundle those with your devices, as well as, I think we've got a slide a little bit later on that talks about our 60-day trial program, where we can also bundle those sensors to be able to have a holistic solution. We're also looking at putting some bundled solutions together, so you'll be able to have for various common use cases, so you've got it all in one package. So we're very, again, excited about the 4955. Not to get in the weeds on this thing, but as I said, we like to let customers drive innovation. The 4955 is an exciting device to me because it really started as this. It was just a brick. Sorry, I've got my screen scrambling on there, but it was just a brick, just a big battery powered device. And a customer came to me and said, hey, we're using a lot of your gear. I've got this solar device from another manufacturer. It doesn't do everything I need it to do. Would you help me by building a solar device? And we literally took that battery powered device, cut a hole in it, put a solar panel, said, here, try it out, test it, tell us what you think, give us the good, the bad, and the ugly. And from that, the 4950 was born a few years ago. From there, we innovated. It was initially just an asset tracker. Then it became, really this robust trailer tracker, yellow iron. The use cases go up and up and up. And then just earlier this year, we launched the 4955, was the next generation with an improved solar panel, better battery management, all kinds of improvements. And then we've had a couple customers piloting the BLE function on that to help us work through that and better optimize it. And so we will now be launching in very soon in the coming months, the 4955 LCBW. So we're going to take all of the best of everything that we've been developing on this device, put it into one widget, so you'll have a single SKU for this. So we're very excited about that, and that's going to be able to pair with those ELA sensors. There you go. Whew, that was long-winded. So this is the 4955 LCBW. So it's going to be Bluetooth ready out of the box. It'll be ELA sensor compatible. It'll have also as a one-wire probe for temperature sensing. So if you do want to do wired temperature sensing, that will be right out of the box. Hours of service. So just to clarify on that, we're not talking about ELD government mandate hours of service. What we're really talking about is runtime hours or hours of operation, using accelerometer, using other information to be able to know, power takeoffs and when equipment is actually running. So it's just going to really be runtime hours. But that'll all be in that solar asset tracker, with the different battery sizes available. Again, a couple other. Oh, you're good, Jim. Go ahead and go for it. So that's a couple new accessories available on that external temperature sensor. And then actually what's interesting, again, letting customers drive innovation, that top mount assembly, that new cradle mount is something that was driven by a customer that said, hey, I want to be able to lock this thing down, and this is how I'd like it to be able to work. Can you help us out with that? and we were able to develop, in tandem with one of our customers, what started as a custom bracket is now something that we're going to be able to offer to everybody, and that'll be able to screw that down. I've had a lot of comments, questions, and asked for that over the last few months to be able to secure these things permanently. So we're excited about that as well. Just to head off some of these frequently asked questions, because we want to help to nip those in the bud, and hopefully we can, we've already heard several of these. So first is this a firmware update for the existing 4955, or does it require new hardware? Well, it requires new hardware because there's it's going to have that temperature probe on it. It's also going to have the Bluetooth chip on there, so it'll be a new piece of hardware, a new SKU. Is the 4955 being replaced by the LCBW? So yes, as of August 1st, we're going to make that transition. We'll end of life the existing 4955, and you're going to have all of those features bundled into one device. So you're not going to have to specify if you want those different add-ons or not, which will just make it easier to inventory, easier to purchase. Can you get any other Bluetooth devices? Absolutely. Contact us. We'll work with you. We have some customers that have, their own private label Bluetooth widgets that they want to be able to connect. We can help you out with that. Obviously, the partnership with ELA just makes things that much easier to deploy, and that much easier to procure. But if you've got something that's unique, we're always happy to work with you. How many hardware temperature probes? Just one. It's just got one port for that temperature probe. How many ELA sensors can it read? Up to 100 at this time. We're working on that. We may be able to expand in the future, but as of right now, we feel comfortable with 100 devices. And to use Bluetooth or hardwired temperature probe, is it required to be wired to power? Yes, we recommend that. The battery backup is really for asset tracking and for long-term storage, for a tractor trailer or piece of equipment that's sitting out in a location where we're really just doing minimal location updates. It doesn't have the kind of power required to be able to report, dozens of times a day or hundreds of times a day from a whole constellation of Bluetooth devices. So you'd want to be connected to external power on that. And then finally, can you use the same hardwired temperature probe and ELA sensors at the same time? Yes, you can. All of the above.
Cool. That's a great overview, Heath. Thank you. You got a lot covered there, Heath, in a very short amount of time.
I know, so much for the 15 minutes. Sorry about that.
No, you're right on time, so thank you. We have a lot of questions coming in a technical nature that we want to get into the second section, but Heath, maybe if I can just pose one question to you right now from Yukon. Can the BLE sensors communicate through a metal container, i.e. trailers? If so, is there a range? Maybe we can use that in the next section, but I think let's hold off on that until the next section, Yukon. I think we'll be able to address that in the next one. Heath, any other additional comments about the partnership?
Well, as I mentioned before, that the 60-day trial, that's been a standard for Suntech for a few years now. We have a no upfront cost 60-day trial on our hardware. We want to get this stuff in your hands, where we help create the profile, help create the configuration. We want to make it easy to use, and we're very excited to be able to now offer through our partnership with ELA and Novatech. We want to be able to offer those Bluetooth widgets as well. So again, as we start productizing some of these bundles, we're going to talk about use cases later in the presentation, but I think we're really going to see a shift towards productizing very common use cases. And so if you've got, for example, you want to do cold chain, or you need to have, door and light sensors or a tractor trailer, you should be able to just say, hey, I've got this use case my customer wants to solve for X, and we should be able to put a bundle that's going to include the sensors and be able to include that in a 60-day trial and get you up and running, so you've got that in your hands as easy as possible.
Okay. Well, Heath, we really appreciate covering the first section. We're getting more questions on a technical nature, so let's just jump into our next section with Henry Tran, which will be our second section, which is the technical review with a deep dive. I know that people are typing in private forums right now with a couple questions, so I'll try to address those as we go through it. So Henry, I'd like to take over the show, let you take over the show here and go a little bit more in detail about the technical review. So Henry, welcome.
Hey everyone. Yes, so the next side is the technical side of it. What we would like to do is have the customers be able to program these devices however they like. So what we came up with is our C4 technology, which is our customer control cloud configurable. So that's our free middleware solution combining both our SyncTrack and our Scooty, which is our cloud-based maintenance server. So you can start off by using our SyncTrack, which is our GUI interface program where you can program your device however you like. It's pretty straightforward. It's plug in any of your parameters that you need, your reporting intervals, and you can build a simple but a profile based on what you need. From there, once you save that profile, which is all of your configurations, you can upload that to our cloud-based maintenance server, which is Scooty. So from Scooty, you can use that profile to update your entire fleet rather than hooking up each one individually and program them one by one. So this will save you a bunch of time, allows you to work and save all these configurations online in our cloud. And when the device checks in on our daily heartbeat, you can have that profile update to those devices. So together, all of those, the SyncTrack and Scooty, it's really, really easy for any customers to keep track and deploy multiple devices to your fleet. Next slide.
So Henry, before we jump in a little bit more, because we're getting a lot of questions here in the private forum, but I want to first start off with Yukon's question. Jesse, I know from the Nova team that you're out there as a panelist. Maybe if we can ask you to attend here as well too. But Henry, the question from Yukon is, can the BLE sensors communicate through a metal container, i.e. trailers? If so, is there a range?
I do know that I've been testing locally here, but there is the metal container does act as a Faraday cage, but I have seen devices communicate through it, but it's very limited. So it's kind of hit and miss. I'll say, put it that way.
Good, thank you. Jesse, welcome to the webinar and thanks for representing the Nova team. Jesse, do you have a little bit more color on that question as well?
Well, maybe pass it on to Anthony, who also works for me at Novatech, but he also worked for ELA in the past. So I'm wondering if maybe the technical side, you might have a bit of insight. I can't really shed some light on this exact topic right now. Anthony, do you have any insight on that?
Yes. So it can transmit in a metal container. However, obviously the range will be lower.
Right.
But this is the use case that ELA have a lot, and not many people had the problem. I was part of the technical support, so we didn't have that much problem. If the sensor is at max power, it shouldn't be a problem. If the trailer is not like 100 meters long, it's okay.
This is Yukon here. So as far as configuring the power on the sensor, so is that something that is configurable on the BLE sensor?
Yes, that's something you can just configure using the NFC technology and the ELA mobile app or the Windows app using the NFC reader.
Okay, and can we somehow determine the power, the life of the battery based on what we configure it to?
Yes, you have some documentation available on the ELA website. Depending of the period and the power, you will have the expected lifetime.
Okay, thank you. And what are the batteries? Are they just the standard single cell batteries, or?
That's a 3-volt battery inside. Yeah, kind of standard.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Sure.
Does that answer your question right now, or do you have any additional follow-up questions right now?
It helps. Yeah, it answers my question. I appreciate it.
Okay, we're getting a lot of questions about integration in the next step. So Henry, sorry for derailing that, but I wanted to get that question answered.
Totally
fine. Why don't we go back here?
Okay.
Oh, excuse me. There we go.
So when Heath mentioned earlier that we can scan multiple devices up to 100, what our 4955 LCBW, what it does is mainly act as a Bluetooth BLE gateway and scans for all the beacons nearby. Once you use SyncTrack to program your reporting interval for those Bluetooth sensors, that unit will scan for all of your devices, what you see here on the screen, and it'll basically send all that raw data to your platform. So similar to developing out a listener for our main module, our universal protocol messages, you can now take all that raw data and extract that BLE beacon information as needed on your platform. So it's a great way. What you see on the screen here, it'll send out all of your beacons nearby, and you can parse that data for information that you need. So the quick example here on the screen is what I did. Let me share. Let me take out the blur in my screen. Okay, so what I have here is a BLE ID tag, a light ID tag. What you can see on the screen is that little orange box, I already parsed out that data. You can see that it comes in raw. That's the format that comes from ELA pucks, and it follows their frame specifications, which is documentation that from the ELA side that is very thorough. If you scroll to the next page, I broke it down for you. So their documentation basically puts out everything that you need from the device. You can see the frame that I highlighted above is what I highlighted down below, where you can see that the company is ELA, the ID tag, which is the ID number that you see right here on the screen. This is 0030AD, and it also reports the battery voltage. So you can see that my device is still at well above 3 volts there, 3.00. So these devices last a long time, and yeah, you got multiple years out of these devices. ELA has been great. They've been helping us integrate these devices and help us parse all that information out for us. Okay, and then the next one here is what you saw from the video. Is one, you see that the SMB report, which is our standard universal protocol report, and it spits out that one wire temperature, which is 24.5. Along with that, the SNE is where you get the paired ELA pucks that we have. You can specify those, you can input those parameters into our device, and you can have it also read out those the temperatures and the humidity for you. So that instead of just having it come in raw data, we also parse it out so that you can set limits, upper and lower limits. So if your container starts to the refrigerator stops working and you see that it reaches a certain level, it can also send out an alert that say, hey, you reach your maximum threshold. Here's an alert, and so you can go and check on your container. So, yep. And then next is all this documentation and how our 4955 LCBW works. We have our support page that we're building out now. It has all of your specification and universal protocol documents, our SyncTrack, knowledge base for any questions, and then we'll also have links to Novo and ELA for their frame specifications, so that you can have all the information you need to parse out that data.
So Henry, thank you so far. I have a couple questions coming in on technical and also just private questions. I think you just answered this, but I think we need to reiterate it a little bit more, Henry. The question is, with regards to the data, is the data for the ELA devices coming in through our C4 SCUDI, or does the data have to be transmitted and parsed by the platform provider? I think the answer is it goes to the platform provider that you just presented, But Henry, can you give us a little bit more color on that?
Right. So the same your platform where the 4955 LCBW reports to, we will also send those reports directly to that server. So the server where you have that listener set up to parse our devices, you can set up a listener to pull out that raw ELA BLE sensors string format where you can pull and parse out that data. So it goes directly to your server, and that is where all the data goes.
Okay, and then once again, Henry, all that information will have links on our site at Suntech US.
Yes. So you can once you create an account with us, all that is available for you.
Okay, thank you, Henry. I think we want to open it up to general Q&A now because we have a couple questions. But what I'd like to invite Anthony and Jesse to be part of this discussion as well for general questions. First one, why don't we go back to Yukon? Yukon has a question, Henry. Does the BLE data come from in every message from the device? Can the Suntech be configured to send BLE data in at a different interval than the standard device update interval?
Yes. So all that's configurable in our using our sync track. You can set up to report anywhere from, I believe, 10 minutes to reporting once an hour, depending on your use case and how much you want to conserve that battery power. Because the BLE scanning does take quite a bit of power. So you can set it up to report at any interval that you like.
Perfect. Yukon, does that answer your question?
Okay, so just to confirm, so the BLE reports can be independent of the standard device reports. So if I want the device to report every 5 minutes with location, I can do that, and then the BLE data could be every 20 minutes. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay, got it. Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
It'll be based on that interval. So if you want your device report 5 minutes for that your GPS location, and you only want the Bluetooth report every 20 minutes, then you just set an interval of 4. So every 4 reports of your GPS data that comes in, you can have that BLE report.
Okay, and is there a standard message size for each BLE sensor? So I'd imagine it appends to the standard device message. So just to get an idea of what the data consumption might be.
It's pretty standard on ELA side because we pass in just the raw data. That has the frame specifications has a breakdown, but the size of the raw data for each device that comes in is about the same size.
Okay,
So it's easy to parse out.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thanks, Henry. Yukon, does that answer your question? Do you have any other follow-up questions right now?
No, that's fine. I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Next question, I'd like to call on Bill Pearson. Come from Bill, one of the friends of Suntech, Henry. Does the data sent show signal strength to gauge distance of the BLE device to the 4955?
I'll have to double check, but I'll have to double check, but I believe it does. I believe that's in the standard reporting.
Bill, we're going to take that as a takeaway item, but Bill, is there any other questions that we can answer for you right now? No. No, Bill's good for right now. Let's give a moment here for any additional questions. Let's see here. I have a couple more people. We have a couple more people doing in private forum questions, looks like coming on. But maybe if we can just call on Anthony and Jesse. We had a little bit of a discussion here on a technical basis. Is there any other technical insights that you'd like to do for integration for Ella, or any other advice that you give to our partners that are looking to integrate devices? I'll open that up question to Jesse and Anthony.
Again, would have to turn back to Anthony for more of a technical side of things in terms of integration of devices. But yeah, I'm still learning quite a bit in terms of how it all works together. But I see that Suntech and our rep Anthony are doing great job explaining the tech and the integration of that product with the bigger solutions. Anthony,
Well,
you have
thank
any
you,
insight on
Jesse.
the technical side?
That's perfect. Anthony, any of the additional color that you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that you're using the manufacturer data mod on the tag, right?
Yes, yes, we are.
Okay, so this is something our customer will have to say during the order that to have the manufacturer data on. So that's okay. Just wanted to check.
I think the biggest thing that the entire Suntech team wants to convey to everybody on the webinar today and also listening today is that you have one team, one custom team with Suntech between Ella and Nova that are here to be able to provide you Bluetooth telematics. So we're able to bring all of those innovations together and technically together. We have a couple more questions coming in, one from our friend George. Henry, the next question that we have is, can you set thresholds on the device to trigger messages? For example, the device gets regular updates from the BLE device, but only sends messages to the server when a BLE sensor has exceeded a set temperature.
Yes. So what the one part of the demonstration that we just went over had the paired humidity and temperature pucks that from Ella. Those you can set the upper and lower thresholds, and we also have alerts for those. So whenever one of those pucks exceeds your operating temperature range, it'll spit out the alert code for it. So if it goes above, let's say you're 70 degrees, you'll get an alert for that. And then also, if you exceed that temperature, we also have an alert so that when it returns back into that range. So you can kind of approximate how long, let's say your container was out of temperature spec in order for you to judge if all your cargo is still safe.
Well, thank you, Henry. George, I unmuted you. Does that give you enough color on that, or is there any additional questions we can answer for you, George?
That answered my question. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, George. Oh, David has raised his hand. 1 second here. There we go. Sorry about that, David. David, can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
Perfect, perfect. Thanks for attending the webinar, and you have the entire team here. How can we answer your question today?
Awesome. Great webinar, guys. Really cool stuff. So just real quick, we're talking about pairing, and we use the terminology of pairing. I want to just be clear. Are these BLE beacons actually pairing, or is this just a logical pairing by way of having the ID set in the device and just recording that ID?
It'll be on the logical side. So once just like how the raw data comes in, we parse internally, we parse that and we look for that serial number that you typed in. From there, we can report those upper and lower thresholds for you.
Understood. So there's no actual Bluetooth protocol pairing that's going on over here.
No.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Thanks for the clarification.
No problem.
Good stuff, guys.
Any other questions right now, David?
Nope, that's it for now. Thank you.
David, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Can you give us a little color? Because I know that you're a longtime friend of the company and also the 4955 for your lineup. Can you give us a little idea of how you think in just general cases that maybe use cases that you think your team might be able to deploy this into the field, or is that top secret information?
I think you covered a lot of the really good use cases already, right? I mean, trailer tracking, cargo tracking, that type of stuff is really neat. The temperature stuff is really neat, right? So it's a nice, convenient way to add a little bit more information without a tremendous expense. So I think it's a cool product. It's the best you're going to get out of me, man. Sorry.
That's good, David. I know it's a little secret there, but I appreciate you putting you on the spot there.
My pleasure.
Henry, thank you so much for the technical section. I think we want to keep on track. And with that transition, David, I think we're going to go back into use cases. But the biggest thing that I want to make everybody aware of here is that you have one combined team willing and able to be able to take you to the next level for your Bluetooth telematics solutions. And everything that you need is at suntechus.com. So with that, let's move into our third and final section, and then we'll just open it up for general questions, which is Bluetooth telematics use cases. And I'd like to hand the presentation back over to Heath. So Heath, take it away.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks, Jim. And thank you guys for all of those great questions. So this is really one of my favorite slides, not only because there's so much information, but also because if you cover your left eye and read the bottom line, you can, based on the size of your screen, you can determine your vision. So as we talked a little bit about before, you've got Bluetooth ready, so sensor compatible, the wired temperature sensor, the hours of service or runtime hours. So you've also got the 3 different battery sizes, as I mentioned. So we talked a little bit about reporting intervals. Remember that that reporting intervals become less important when we're hooked up to external power, right? It's going to matter on the data consumption, but if you're hooked up to external power, whether it's 5 minutes or every 30-second interval, it's not really going to matter as far as the device or the power goes. Now, I want to talk a little bit about why then do I need still a big battery, and I want to kind of lay out a typical use case, something that's being used in the real world today by a customer today. So when we put this on a tractor trailer, though it could just as easily be a piece of yellow iron, it could be a taco truck, it could be a lot of different places, but we've got a customer today that has several thousand of these deployed. Again, we had some folks that had sort of early beta versions of these BLE units. So when the trailer is in use, then it's got external power through the 12-volt connector on there. And so it's able to report at whatever interval they want in real time or near real time. And then when the trailer gets dropped off in a yard, where it may be for weeks or months, extended periods of time, then it's really only going to report in location. That's all you need it to do. You want to make sure it's there. You don't necessarily need sensor data on a trailer or other unit that's just sitting in a yard someplace waiting to be utilized. So that's kind of the differentiation there. And so you're going to have use cases for all the different battery sizes as well. And those are going to be 3, 4, and 5 year respectively, based on those batteries at one ping per day. You can go on to the next one if you would, Jim. Oh, I stole my own thunder. I should have led up to this and had a drum roll. So as I mentioned, we're going to collapse all of these into a single SKU with the LCBW. So you've got the standard 4955 capabilities with the addition of the Bluetooth, the sensor, the wire temperature, and the runtime hours. And the price increase is going to be all of $1, which I think is pretty palatable. It's honestly pretty exciting to be able to jam all of that into a single device and only have the price go up by a single dollar. Part of that is attributable to just being really creative and really maximizing the transition to the new module on there. Just better sourcing. We really have worked hard to keep the price low. We want to be competitive with this thing. We want to really hit the market with a splash. And again, as we start bundling these sensors on there, not only are you getting a discount on those versus the retail, but I think we're going to start to productize some of these as well into bundles. Go ahead. So the use cases, I touched on some of these, and you can see that our friends at ELA were kind enough to provide these use cases with specific devices. But I'm going to talk about a few of them that came up in my discussion this past week as well with our friends at ELA. Is the most common is going to be cold chain. So we put this on a tractor trailer. You want to make sure the lettuce doesn't get over a certain temperature. You've got federal regulations. You want to limit spoilage. So you've got temperature monitoring. That's number one. The second is going to be loss prevention and theft reduction. So the magnetic sensor can be put on a door so that if the door opens or closes. So now we have an event. So I think somebody mentioned, to George's question earlier, basically what you're asking there is, can you manage by exception? And yes, so we can manage by exception. We don't need to know all the time if the door is closed. We just want to know if the darn thing opens. So that's a big one. The other is that driver ID. I was privy to information as well that the next generation of driver ID, this little bitty tag, is also going to be able to come with a panic button. So you have that that add-on as well. The other is trailer ID, which maybe warrants a little bit of explanation. And you can see that's the blue puck ID, trailer identification on the bottom row there. So how do you know if the tractor, that is the front of the truck, the big rig, is actually hauling the correct trailer? Have they hooked up? If you're in a big distribution center, how do you know that they have the correct trailer? So you can utilize the puck ID to be able to sync up the trailer with the tractor, make sure that the correct ones are working together. And the other, which I'm really excited about, and it is nascent, so bear with me. I don't really have all the details built out on it yet. But one of the sort of holy grails as we move away from telematics, moving in that sense to asset tracking, one of the challenges we've always had is what happens if somebody goes inside a building? How do we keep track of where things are if they go inside of a warehouse? So we can utilize small BLE pucks or BLE tags to put them on vehicles, forklifts, pieces of equipment, assets, and utilize the 4955, just put that up on a wall and multiple of these to be able to use them as sort of a BLE base station. So we can now get some level of in-building location. That it may not be super granular, but we're going to know when things are in a building. We also then can potentially add a Z-axis, which has been, sort of, again, kind of a holy grail. So how do we know what floor something is on? By utilizing the 4955 stationed at different levels on different floors of a building, we now can determine what floor an asset or really a worker or anything is when we start to talk about vertical locations as well. That was a mouthful. So go ahead and hit the next one.
Yeah, I'd like to stop there for a bit because we have a combined superpower team between Suntech, Ella, and Novo here. Gonzago, I'd like to call on Gonzago if you can with the Ella team. Gonzago, can you give any additional color of what you've seen for Ella sensors and use cases, or Ella in general?
Yeah, sure, Jim, and great job, Heath. I think you cover very well most of the use cases that we see here on the slide. When we talk about telematics, definitely the temperature monitoring, the cold chain monitoring will be the main use case that we see with our customers. So having the possibility to use a BLE sensor instead of a wire sensor and having all the installation, maintenance that correspond to a wire sensor, this is where we see really the benefits of the BLE sensors. I remember that one of the first question that we had was to understand if the signal can go through metallic obstacles or in the trailer. So definitely that works very well, and most of our customers which are using temperature sensor or door sensors, they can detect the tags up to 25-30 meters without any issue. So so all the images and use cases you see here on the slide, this is the most common that we see. Asset tracking, tools tracking will be one of another use case that we can cover with our tags. I will say there is no limit in using that kind of BLE tags. We work on new projects and new use cases every day. So even if you see one use case, or if you have one use case that you don't see on the slide, feel free to get back to us and to discuss it with us, because I'm pretty sure that we can cover it with the BLE tags.
Thank you. That was a great additional color that we were looking for. And I think I just want to stop here and put both of you guys on the spot. Our partners, I know that we have a one portal for all the technical information on Suntech US, but Heath, I know that you guys have a growing partnership on the sales side. So if you do need to bring in anybody from Ella, Heath, I know that you and Gonzago are working together. Can you talk about that a little bit for maybe questions that are needed or presentations that are needed?
Sure, absolutely. We're always, ultimately, TSPs and platform providers that you're our customers, but if we don't help you win your customers, none of us win. So I am always available, and I'm gonna speak for Gonzaga as well. If there's something we can do to get on a call to help drive business, to help put together a creative solution, including and up to joining you on a call with an end customer to try to get business closed, we're absolutely available to do something like that. I also want to add to that sort of, we've always had this joke in this space and, in the telematics and IoT end-to-end industry, when a customer asks me, can you do X? Can you solve this problem? My answer has always been yes, but then we got to figure out how we can do it if it, and if it's financially feasible to solve for that problem. What this does with adding this, this growing lineup of BLE sensors means that the answer really is yes. If you say, I want to know, the temperature, I want to know, this motion, light, all these different things, can I make this happen? The answer is not only yes, we can make it happen, but we can make it happen relatively cheap, because there's no longer the need to do these involved installs where you're pulling wires and cables. So just a tangent there, but I think it's important to take into account how easy this stuff is to deploy.
Perfect, Keith. That's I think what everybody is wanting, and the partnership that we're developing is really transitioning directly to our customers. So thank you. With that, Keith, I think maybe a little bit about the launch calendar.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, I just keep going back to this theme of, our customers drive our innovation, our customers drive our development calendar. And so, we've had, a number of customers, it's sort of the flip side of this coin of what we've been talking about with the BLE, right? And getting away from wires. But we've had a number of customers that said, I still want to have, I really love the 4955. I love it for a number of use cases, particularly when we get into things like snow plows or cement mixers, a lot of things that are in relatively rugged environments. They have specific actionable data points that they want to be able to monitor. And they says, man, I love the 4955, but I wish it had IOs. And I wish it could do this, this, and this. So this is where the 4335 series has been born. It's going to be very similar to what the 4955 does, with the exception of it's going to have the same batteries, but it's going to have 8 IOs and a programmable button. So now, not only trailer tracking, which has been great for the 4955, but we can also add, again, things like solar, dump trucks and snow plows and not to hit on the taco truck too much, but man, I really want to see these wired in taco trucks so I can go out and do some field testing with those things. But we'll see this coming towards the end of the year, sometime in the fall, and as well as a lot of other great things we have on the radar. But man, I'm just really excited to see this new version of the 4955 hit the market. This new bundles with the ELA sensors, and then close on its heels coming with this 4335 series. So a lot of exciting stuff happening, and we're just thankful for everybody who's on the call. And stay tuned, because again, those 60-day trials are available. Let me know, send me an email directly, or you can send it to sales@suntechus.com, and it'll make its way to my desk, and we'll be happy to get some of those in your hands as soon as possible.
Well, Heath, thank you so much for the third section. You covered a lot of information in a very short amount of time. We're right on time for the schedule right now, and this is our open Q&A session. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to type in the chat forum or raise your hand. Heath, I do have one that I need to ask you that came through the private forum, which I think you addressed already, but maybe if you can add a little answer to that, is regarding the 60-day sample program that we have here, that we show here. Can you walk through it? The question is really, is that for Ella sensors and or Suntech, or how does that work?
Yeah, no, thanks for letting me highlight that a little bit. So what we want to do is, again, it's about being easy to do business. So if you say, I want to try out this device, and that includes the Ella sensors as well, we'll get that, we'll set up the configuration. The technical team Henry's team will work with you as the customer, as well as your technical people, to set up the configuration, get these things configured the way that you're going to need them for an out-of-the-box experience. We'll ship them to you, no upfront out-of-pocket cost. We'll send it to you with a 60-day net invoice. Man, we figure in 2 months, you're going to know either you want to keep this thing and you're going to want to buy it, or it didn't fit your use case and you send it back to us, no harm, no foul. But that is also going to include the ability to get some Ella sensors bundled with that as well for your 60-day trial.
Perfect. Thanks, Heath. They said thank you in the private forum. If you do have any general questions, please feel free to raise your hand or type it in the chat. I'm going to call on one team member that usually does a lot of unique applications. So I know, Bill Boyles, you're out there. Bill, let me unmute you. I know that you do some unique applications with regards to it. Can you tell us a little bit about the applications that you're looking to take this with, or any additional questions we can answer for you?
Hey, thanks, Jim. Well, car dealers, I'm in the car dealer business, obviously, and car dealers are always trying to find their assets, all kinds of toolboxes, front end loaders. They're looking. Some of them have fork trucks, all kinds of applications. And I'd love to be able to take this to the automotive industry that I'm familiar with for tracking their assets, their drivers, who's driving what vehicle, how long did the driver drive the vehicle. There's all kinds of applications for this.
And Bill, I know that you've done some previously with RVs or for the action sports industry for RVs. Do you think this would be a good marriage for you with the sensors for the RV market, or?
Be excellent for RVs, because RVs, again, have all kinds of toys that they take with them. It being solar and also being able to do several of these monitors. I've been waiting for Bluetooth monitors forever. So this now satisfies the RV industry for being able to keep track of the different options they have on their RV, the bicycles they take, all the different toys that they take with them when they go out on their RV trips. So yes, it'd be fantastic.
Perfect. Thanks, Bill, for that color.
Sure.
It looks like we have most of the questions answered right now, so I'm going to give one last call for any general questions that you'd like to answer between the combined team. Before we do our final questions, I'd like to turn back over to Rob, our CEO. Rob, any additional color that you'd like to add to the presentation today?
No, I'm just really happy to see the dialogue and the discussion going forth so we can continue to connect everything out there in the universe. So thank you all for spending time with us today. Check back on our website and social media, right, Jim?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, good point, Rob. So this is being recorded and will be updated to our YouTube channel. And we'll also be sending this out to all attendees after the event as well, and sharing it with our community. So as always, if you have any questions, come directly to Suntech US, sales@suntechus.com. And we're here as one combined team to be able to answer all of your questions. Also, if you have any questions with regard to technical issues, it's support@suntechus.com. Want to call out one last time, any additional questions or items that we need to cover? And I'm just getting thumbs up from, we got one quick question here. Let's get Yukon back on. Sorry about that. Yukon, I think you're able to unmute if you'd like. Yukon, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I'll let you go through your questions directly if you'd like to the team.
Sure. Yeah, this is back to the technical. I asked this earlier, but it didn't get a response. But the device, when it scans for nearby BLE sensors, can it be configured to only scan for the BLE sensors that we set up? So say the Ella sensors, or will it scan and pick up every BLE sensor in its local environment, regardless of whether we provided that or not?
At this moment, it's only our ELA sensors that are nearby.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, no problem.
Yukon, any other questions we can answer for you right now?
That's all. Yeah, sorry I peppered you guys with all these questions, but I've been looking at these BLE sensors for years, so I have a lot of experience.
We're here to support you. So if you have any other questions, we're just a phone call away or an email away.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thanks.
Well, everybody, we really appreciate the time today. And with that being said, I think we'll move on, closing the webinar. As always, the entire Suntech team is here to support you. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I hope everybody has a great week and a great summer. Thank you so much.